Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. Today we're taking a look at from the Transformers Unite Warriors line. This is First Aid and Blades from the Defensor team, or Protectobots, a Japanese version. I think it was called Guardian. I know we some time ago took a look at Groove and how it combined and was the leg and what have you, but I figured I wanted to give you a little bit better of a look at the individual components, because there are some differences here. We'll start off with Blades. As you can see, big difference in the color scheme. Now, it's a bit more red, and it's actually closer to the original cartoon and toy with the white detailing here. Let me take off the gun here, so you can get a better look. And I am a little disappointed that they didn't go ahead and retool a new forearm with little skiffs instead of missiles. Although, I've heard from several sources that rescue helicopters do use missiles when fighting fires, that the missiles fire foam. Other than that, it's basically the same Alpha Bravo mold. I actually kind of like it. It's actually the tightest Combiner Wars Unite Warriors mold I've handled. One little complaint on this version is, as you can see, you can stick the hand-foot gun limb module into the peg underneath, and that's where a little bit of a problem is. That I think they put a little too much paint in there, and getting it into the hole is a little tight. And as you can see, right where my finger is, some paint's already come off. Also, I should mention that they've gone ahead and Takara, they've done this with Superion and Menasor, go for a bit more of a unified scheme. So, the hands, being First Aid and Blades here, all have this same module, which is basically the one designed for the First Aid mold, because it has that little groove right in to peg into top. So, that's it for Blades. We'll put them off to the side. First Aid, not a lot new going on. All I can say really is the white is a little bit brighter. You do have this new design here on the side. Both sides. Let me remove the axe here. Axe is basically the same, yeah, whatever. Yeah, like I mentioned, the weapon can peg into the top there. One thing I do have an issue here is that I think in this part right here where there's a slot where the legs peg in, it's either the tab is too thick or the slot is too small. It doesn't come together as nicely on the Combiner Wars First Aid. But yeah, it's a nice little truck. The white is a little bit brighter, but I mean, realistically, with this set, I would say First Aid has the least going on new with it. Okay, and looking at them in robot mode, really not a lot of new details. First off, we'll start with Blades again, and I do just want to mention that this is probably the tightest I've experienced with this mold in terms of the joints, and I'm really happy about that. But you know, the more red shows up not as much in vehicle mode. You do have a little bit lighter blue here in the face, but really there's not much different going on. Maybe some different detailing and what have you. I do miss the fact that, you know, he doesn't have that, I think it was a mortar cannon or something as the limb module. I think that suited Blades a little bit better, but really that was for Alpha Bravo. And First Aid, unfortunately, you know, this mold is starting to show its age. Really just, the joints aren't as loose as I've experienced, but this arm in particular tends to sag a little, especially when holding a weapon. Other than that, I think there's some more detailing down here in the legs, but pretty much, you know, the red's a little redder, blues are a little bluer, you know. It's just those little tweaks to make it closer to the cartoon. Overall, I think First Aid and Blades are okay, but they're not the real standouts of the Unite Warriors Protectobots set. Personally, I think, you know, it's Groove and maybe Hotspot, who has a whole new design. Now, with First Aid, we've seen who's a retool of Off-Road. We've already seen it used as Trailbreaker, and it's going to be used in the Club Figure subscription service, so this mold is going to be ridden into the ground. Blades, it is going to show up in the Fan's Choice set. There's actually going to be 2 helicopters there. Different heads, but it's going to be the same mold. The real interesting thing is going to be in the Unite Warriors Combaticons set. This mold is actually going to get a slight retooling, as instead of having 2 rotor blades, there'll be 4. So that's something to look forward to. But again, a repaint is a repaint, and I think Combiner Wars has really stretched my limits as to what I can take from a retool. So, this is your old pal Chuck for First Aid and Blades. We'll see you next time.